How did your first deal, or how did your first deal come about? Oh, well, getting back to that, what made you go to real estate
Okay.
specifically?
All right. So two things, maybe three. So one, I mentioned my dad was a general contractor since the day that I was born. So a lot of times you'll see women are very intimidated by the real estate space. It's male dominated. It's a male dominated industry. So that was off the table for me from jump, just being around my dad all the time. And people wouldn't believe it because I'm certainly a girly girl now. I was a straight up tomboy growing up. I was a daddy's girl. I wanted to dress like him, act like him. So anyway, I was never intimidated by being in a male dominated industry. That's one. Two, I was fascinated from real estate from a very young age. I wanted to become a homeowner. So I began reading books as a teenager, like what's PMI? What's a mortgage? How do you get that? You know, buying real estate for dummies. I had all these books. So when I was 23, I did end up purchasing my first property. I bought it in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was working for NBC News down there at that time. So I bought my first property down there. So at the start of my television career, I was a landlord. I owned real estate because I only lived in that house for 11 months and then I rented it out. And it was actually new construction. So I got new construction experience, buying experience, landlord experience, you know, from jump. And I never considered being in real estate full time, but when, you know, I left my job, this other business wasn't going so well. I actually had a chunk of cash in my hand. You know, we're watching all these TVs on, you know, all these shows on HGTV.
Yeah.
I said, I love to flip a house. I have great design sense. I knew how to manage contractors. I had, you know, done lots of projects. I purchased property. So I put all those skill sets together, did my first flip. It went really well. I made $25,000 from that first flip. My goal was to make 30. I made it 25. That was good. And that was really more money that I had made in such a short period of time than I had made in those 5 years in my other business. So I shut that business down immediately. Immediately. Like, no pause, no, like immediately. Hey, client, we're not doing this anymore. It's been real. Like it was that good. And I went on, and that was at the start of the year. I went on to do that 3 more times that year. So I made $100,000 in that first year of flipping, which was great. But when it was time to pay those taxes, I was like, man.
Yeah, Uncle Sam got to get his.
Mm-hmm. At that point, I started thinking about, well, there has to be a better way. And there was buying and holding. And so I started to learn more about that. Even though I was already a landlord, I had purchased with an FHA loan, a more traditional way. Now I'm mostly using the BRRRR strategy. And we could talk about that if you want to, but I'm using the BRRRR strategy. And so, you know, not as much capital is needed up front and the whole process is different. And so I began to focus on that and building out a portfolio.
Okay, nice. So currently, that's your current strategy, or you're just buying and holding? Are you doing any more flips at all, or just buying hold now?
So I was blessed to do my first 6-figure flip about 1.5 years ago. And after that, I became a flipping snob. So like, I won't flip for 25 grand anymore.
Oh, got you.
It's not,
how nice that has to be. Like, man, 25 grand.
you think about it, you flip for 25, Uncle Sam takes his cut, you really made like 18 or less, you know?
Yeah.
With the
Yeah, you get
strategy that I use, I'm able to pull more capital than that from the project with the cash flow, with the you know, cash out refi. It just doesn't make sense to do it. So if I'm gonna flip, it's gonna be for a nice, like at least 80 grand. So I don't flip much.
Okay, so now it's just buy and hold.